Evening everyone, welcome to the Apex Racing Team and RLL eSports coverage of the Porsche eSports Tag Heur Supercup here for the final round at Monza. Monza for the final round. I think we're going to see drama. Mr. Dane Baird joining me on comms today. I think it's going to be a tricky one for the guys just surviving opening laps and waiting for the dive bombs and the chicanes, I guess.
Yeah, not just the opening laps. I think Monza in these cars especially, a pretty tricky one to survive, especially when you've got a fairly big grid, as they do here. But as is tradition in the Porsche Tag Heur eSports Supercup, we finish at Monza, and the guys have a couple of the guys out there have quite a bit still to do to secure their seat in the series for next season, because only the top 20 stay in. The other 20 get kicked out and have to requalify, and I think a couple of the Apex Racing Team drivers might be outside of that top 20 heading into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. On-screen graphics been brought to us today by Samuli Kumo, so thanks Samuli for jumping in and covering Alex today. We can see in the driver boxes that Kevin and Zach are just opening up their qualifying laps, so once they start on those, we will join Jamie. It will be on board for qualifying for Apex Racing Team. Yeah, a couple of guys on the bubble, Dane. Like you said, Johan Half currently 24th in the standings, so he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to get the 20 points. He's got 25 points to gain on the current 20th position of Marino Sirica, so that could be a tall order. Jeff Giassi also currently in 18th. He's got a decent buffer to 20th. 28 points if my maths is 38 points. So he should be all right. But again, he's going to need to score some points just to try and secure it. So Jeff and Johan are going to be the guys to keep an eye on in terms of that bubble, and then probably our main focus for today is going to be watching Mr. Kevin Ellis Jr. battling for that 4th position in the championship. What a stunning season from Kevin so far. Sprint race and a feature race to go, and we'll see if he can hold on to that top 5 spot. Dane Warren in 5th and Charlie Collins in 6th are just 3 and 7 points behind respectively. Sebastian Job, though, Dane, I think is going to be a little bit out of reach. He's we're looking at 56 points up the road, but a little birdie tells me that actually Sebastian is going to be let me remind myself, actually, is going to be possibly looking at Sebastian's got a pit lane start, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Pit lane start for Sebastian Job, but Kevin needs to be very careful that he doesn't get instant responsibility for any crashes this race, because he actually could be subject then to a 15-point penalty for this final round, which is what I was trying to stretch up there. So yeah, it could be interesting for the sharp end of the championship there.
Yep, absolutely. Kevin, of course, getting the first feature win of the season at Interlagos, but after that didn't really go too well in the next couple of rounds. I think in Barcelona in round 2, pretty much every single one of the Apex and RLL eSports drivers getting involved in the same incident into turns 10 and 11 in one of those races. So really the first half of the season, other than the first round, didn't go too well for him, but he's picked it up, and he's got a fair few podiums, and he's done really well in this series. And as you can see, he's in 4th place in the standings. He was in a very similar position this time last season to the final round, where he ended up actually finishing tied on points with Max Benecke, who ended up beating him because of the drawback route, or the countback, which was race wins. And I think it was Benecke had a single race win and Kev didn't have any, but this time Max Benecke is in 9th, so he's not going to have to worry about him, but he does definitely have to worry about Warren and Collins behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, Warren and Collins really are the 2 headaches for him. They both had kind of mixed races last time out at Le Mans, so yeah, we'll see how those guys go. We saw a couple of tricky incidents for the ART and RL guys last week, with Zach Campbell unfortunately getting into the back of one of the cars on the final lap. and also Jamie Fluke just kind of shoulder checking a little bit. I think it was Dane Warren on the final lap as well. None of them have got kind of penalties or anything for this race as a result of those, just the way the system works. They have like a couple of sort of freebies, if you like, through the season, and they hadn't kind of reached their limit on instance of those. So yeah, no problem for them. Hopefully all good starting off. So yeah, we just it's a bit tricky in qualifying for the broadcast because we're all having to join the spotters because no spectators are allowed in the Porsche Sports race now, which means actually we can only go on board with one possible car, and we're just waiting for Jamie to get on his qualifying lap, and then we can jump on board with him, see how he's going. I can tell you though that I'm watching Kevin Ellis Jr. and he is on his flying lap now on at the start of a lap at Monza, just completed sector 1. We can't. Me and Dane. Oh, in fact, you can see Dane. Whereas looking at the timing screen on Jamie, can you see Jamie's progress around the lap in the sectors?
He is just heading down now into Ascari, I believe. Okay. And yeah, we are on board with them. I mean, they really ramp over these sausage curbs here. I would never go anywhere near those if I was driving it, but they go all over the other side of them, almost in these cars. It's very interesting to see because there's definitely a lot of places like that separates these drivers from 2K plebs like me, where I would probably lose about half a second just through Ascari compared to these guys.
You're absolutely right. It's crazy how much they can just scramble over the curbs. I mean, these cars as well, so sensitive to pogoing, to loss of rear traction. You would think they'd have to really tiptoe around those sort of chicanes, but somehow the guys are able just to, like I say, launch them. And we really saw that at Imola as well. So going through, I forget the name of the chicane, Variante Alta, something like that, perhaps. That really tight chicane at the end of the lap at Imola. And they just they launched themselves over those curbs lap after lap, and yeah, it's pretty insane how they managed it.
Yeah, I was practicing for a league race there, and Kevin was telling me that I had to hit the curbs harder, and every time I hit the curb harder, I'd spin. And I kept telling him, "There's no ways that I can hit the curb harder," and he just went out and did a lap and showed me. Oh, well, I don't know how he does it. It's really insane how talented these guys are, and it's really insane to see how close everyone is in this field. Looking all the way down to 15th place is 4/10 off pole. 4/10 off pole in my splits is about third.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, and I mean as has been the theme for the rest of the season so far, VRS are leading the charge. Looks like qualifying is coming to an end. I don't think we're going to see any more changes, but we'll kind of hold our breath. But at the minute, yeah, VRS 1, 2, 3. Charlie Collins and Dane Warren P1 and 2. That's bad news for Kevin Ellis Jr. with his battle for holding on to that 4th position. So we'll see how that pans out. But of course, we are going to get a reverse grid after this first sprint race, Dane. So, you know, Kevin, if he ends up hanging around that kind of P7, P8 sort of mark, you know, who knows, he might be able to then make the most of that in the feature race and score some big points. Just have to wait and see, really. But yeah, qualifying is just finishing up, and then we'll be able to confirm the grid momentarily.
He did a similar thing, Kevin, in Interlagos, the feature race that he won. He finished 7th, I believe, in the sprint race, and he started 2nd on the grid for the feature, which he then ended up winning, of course. That was a brilliant start to the season. We had an academy watch party, and there are about 15 of us all cheering him on in the Discord server. So that was a lot of fun. We've done that for every round. It's been great, and I've had to leave them now so I can replace Alex and then do this, which is I'm very happy to do. But yeah, Hearth is just Pit Fluke. They're separated by 1,000th of a second. The top 10. So Hearth and Fluke, 0.001 second separating them.
That is pretty crazy, and like you say, let alone the gap set throughout the top 10 and 11th place there for Jamie. So it's just crazy close all the way through regardless. But yeah, nothing to split the two of them at all. currently, so it doesn't look like there's much more happening movement-wise. We can see the guys, Kevin Ellis and Zach Campbell on screen, who are just sitting back and waiting. So I would suggest the rest of the field are probably done as well, and they're just waiting for the time to tick by. Kevin Ellis Jr. currently in that 7th position still, yet like Dane was saying, Johan Half, Jamie Fluke 10th and 11th. And in fact, the session has now moved out of qualifying, so that is the positions secured. So yeah, let's just run through the starting grid in its totality. Charlie Collins, yeah, first. Dane Warren second. Mitchell de Jong third. Matt Backham in fourth, although not kind of listed as a VRS Commander car. He is part of that group, that team. And then Josh Rogers, 5th position. And that's when we then get to the first non-VRS Commander car, which is Alejandro Sanchez in 6th. Then our Kevin Ellis Jr., as we said a second ago, in 7th. David Williams 8th. Thomas Tatella in 9th. Then ART drivers Johan Half and Jamie Fluke 10th and 11th. We'll skip through the next couple of VRS cars. We've got another MSI car, Williams eSports, another VRS car in Monte Cronque, and then ART for Jeff Giatti in 17th place, and Zach Campbell then the last of our 5 drivers, this time for RLL eSports in 18th. Unusual actually to see Kevin and Zach so far apart. We've tended to see them really paired up a lot throughout the season so far. So we'll see how Zach is able to make a little bit of progress through the field as they get going.
Yep, it is a bit odd to see them apart. Zach got pole position at Montreal, which I don't think he was expecting. Unfortunately, that race didn't go very well, and after the start there was a bit of contact with, I think it was Dane Warren, and that sent him right to the back of the field, which was very unfortunate. Kevin ended up finishing second in that one. But yeah, those two are normally pretty close together, but he is still in the more or less in the top half of the field. He's not too far back, so definitely could expect to see him make up some places, especially here at Monza, where overtaking is going to be pretty common.
Alright, lights are coming on then. So here we go for the final round of Porsche Supercup. And guys, get off the line nice and clean. Kevin Ellis Jr. to start us off. And there's already been this up in 6th position. Yeah, and half from Jamie to start. There's something going behind as well. We're seeing Alejandro Sanchez going back a little bit. And 6th, 7th, 8th minute for you guys. Can they all get through the first chicane? Yeah, being a little bit tighter in around. Just about managed to squeeze themselves out. Fairly clean, really.
Yeah, but something must have happened behind Kevin, because you can see Fluke and Half. Fluke has got ahead of Johan Half now into the first chicane. Definitely, and it's great for Kevin to get past Rogers, of course. Rogers, unconfirmed champion, could technically still lose his massive points lead that he has at the front. But yeah, it's great for Kev to be able to move up in front. He's got his eyes set on back now. And he'd have to be a very dirty driver. If he racks up enough penalty points, he could still lose it. Racing team lineup for this season of pesc, and he's done brilliantly over the course of the season so far. But what to say about Zach? He's a rookie in the series. There's quite a few rookies in the series for this season that have done incredibly well. Collins, another rookie for the season, he's leading, and he's done brilliantly as well for Coranda. So lots of rookies joining the series for the 2021 season. And yeah, they really impressed me. But we've got something going on in front. Someone's being squeezed all the way to the pit wall up in front of Jeff.
Yeah, it looks like that's Kevin actually. You can see the RLL switching back to and then probably a bit like Le Mans last week or last time out game. I dare say it's all going to kick off a little bit in the last round. So we'll say try and get the position.
Yeah, last 2 laps or last lap. It's normally what happens in these races. Le Mans was an extreme example, and I think we might see something similar here at Monza. But of course, the Monday almost went. I think they went 5 wide at one point. Down one of the straights in the final lap. It was really crazy to watch. But I think we might see something a bit similar happening in the next in a couple of laps time. They won't try and do anything extremely risky because they know that they can make a move, but they don't want to make a move and then get overtaken back again on the next lap because it kind of defeats the whole point. So they'll just sit back for now, but in the final lap or final 2 laps they'll start making those moves. But if you can't help it, then there's no harm in having a try. And Fluke looks like he just got up the inside of Rogers, but now they're side by side, just like 2 rows back.
Yeah, and Kevin just losing out. Look, he didn't get the run off the corner, so George has managed. Josh Rogers, there we go. We'll go for that shorthand. Josh Rogers just able to cruise on by him just on pure drive off the corner, and so yeah, Kevin down to 6 after just a minute ago, challenging for that 4th spot with Matt Backham. But Kevin knows now with Jamie behind him, you know, he can focus on trying to attack the VRS guys ahead. I mean, top 5 positions now all held by VRS, and yeah, let's say he knows with Jamie behind us, maybe as a little bit of the rear gunner, he can focus on trying to move forward again if he wants to. I mean, this is the interesting thing about the reverse grid, right? Like, does Kevin really want to finish 4th instead of 6th in the sprint race, and therefore start 2 positions further back after a reverse grid for the feature? Like, it's an interesting one. You do get, of course, more points for the feature race. Let me remind myself, 25 points for a win in the sprint, 50 points for the win in the feature. So yes, I mean, it's double points. So really, you want to get points in the sprint, but you want to maximise your starting position for the feature race. So it's an interesting conundrum. And in this field, you can't be too passive in the sprint because actually you'll just suddenly get shuffled back in the space of a lap or 2.
Yeah, definitely. Fluke and Hearth might be quite interesting in that reverse grid. It's the top 8 get reversed, so if Johan can get past Tartala in 8th, then he'll be starting at pole, and if Fluke happens to drop back position, then he'll be starting on pole for the feature race. So they might be interested in that as well, as Kevin getting very close to Backham. I think Rogers has just got past Backham now to 4th.
Johan Hart side by side through the chicane, so he's battling hard with Tartella. With Sanchez, I think it is, right? So looks like he did get the run off the corner. We can see Sanchez just in the mirror behind, so Hart is holding the inside line. They work together to MSI eSports with Alejandro and our guys. There's Jeff Biassi battling hard with Graham Carroll. We saw last time we were on board with Jeff, he was 3/4 of a second or so back, I think. So he's gained a little bit, and again in the mirrors we just see a glimpse of a hard battle behind between Septas and Guven as well. But yeah, so Jeff, trying to hang on to that 19th position at the minute was looking pretty good. I mean, say we talked about the fact that he should be looking secure for that top 20 finish. Let's remind ourselves on who's on a bubble around him. So Septas was behind him in the championship. As I said, he's directly in his mirrors, that core liveried car we can see in the rearview mirror there. And then Sirica as well, who's the next car behind. Where's Sirica in the field? He's a bit further up in 13th. So kind of, it's looking okay. Have a minute for Jeff. He just needs to score a few points to make a little bit of difference. He's going to get a run on Graham here as they come to Parabolica, and he just gives him a little nudge and backs off. Bit of bump draft. And a little bit deep was Graham on that one, so we'll dare say Jeff's going to get a better run off of the Parabolica. So let's see how interested he is in moving forward. Of course, if he gets to the front, there's such a gap in front between Carroll and Kroenke, then he's going to not have any draft to work with. But yep, on the outside goes Gassi, and he might well clear him before the braking zone. So let's see if Carroll sends it back up the inside. We'll wait to see if a car randomly appears on the right. Can Jeff turn in? Not really, so I think Graham was there and gets through cleanly. Graham must still be there because Jeff didn't go all the way to the right edge, and there we go, that Red Bull car. Me and Alex talked about this yesterday, Dane. It's a bit nail-biting when you're watching in cockpit view only, right? Because you're just having to guess where the next car is. But yeah, we could see Jeff wasn't able to take that outside line, and yeah, Graham managed to sweep that past. Now he's under pressure from behind, so I can see again in the mirrors Guven looking to send it on the right. Guven might be on the right there. No, Jeff can turn in. So a moment again to breathe now. Cars behind in the mirrors are dropped back. Graham's just pulled a couple of attempts, so yeah, just a moment for Gassi to regain himself. Oh, we haven't got mirrors on Samuli in the broadcast. Well, I've got lots of extra information, I'm afraid, viewers, than you do. But yeah, rear view mirrors, it's going to work wonders when we're in cockpit view for the broadcast. But yeah, like I say, Jeff just having a moment to breathe again. Back at the front, Kevin, Jamie, 6th and 7th still. Looks like they just settled down slightly, a few tenths between them. But yeah, Johan half here then in that 9th position. So yeah, 3 cars in the top 10 for the sprint to lap and a bit to go.
And riding on board with Johan Haas now, and he's at the back of this train. I say at the back. He's got Sanchez and then a bit of a gap behind him, behind Sanchez to boot loop in 11th. But Haas near the back of this train, and there's a bit of a gap now between Fluke and Kevin, actually.
Oh, and Jamie's under pressure here. Car on the right-hand side. Oh, give them a little bump. Jamie gets a push on the right. Great view now from Johan Half. And it was Tartella, it was, he's driven straight round. So, yeah, we didn't quite see whether Tartella did kind of end up a little bit wide on the apex, or whether it was just a fair kind of side-by-side through the chicane there. But, yeah, Jamie definitely got a little nudge we saw on board, and yeah, not able then to get the drive off the corner. So yeah, Tartella up to the 7th, Jamie down to 8th with Johan Half on board now, acting as rear gunner.
I'm just thinking there might be some team play here, because if I'm not mistaken, and I might be here, I'm just actually going to double check. It looks like Jamie Fluke is pretty safe on that 20th position drop off. Yep. He might end up giving the position to Haas so that he can start on pole for the feature.
Good spot, Dane. I agree. Like, for sure, the guys would have talked about this, right? Yeah, I would guess the basis of their like team strategy during the week must be, let's get Kevin as good a result as possible to try and hang on to that 4th. And I mean, who knows if Seb has a bad night, maybe even scrape a 3rd. Where is Seb, by the way, after his pit lane start? Seb is stone last of the runners, so Sebastian Job is not going to score big points. Here comes Johan Half on Jamie Fluke, just like you were talking about, Dane. Oh, it's last lap now as well, and so yeah, coming across the line as Jamie given that spot for Half. He has that worked out very nicely. Alejandro Sanchez behind was only a 10th back, but nicely orchestrated between the two guys. Sorry then, as I was yapping away thinking about the team strategy, yeah, completely missed the fact that we were on the last 100 metres of the race. But yeah, as you called it, Dane, reverse pole now for Johan Half, who needs those maximum points to try and give himself the best chance he can of clawing himself out of that 24th spot in the championship. So there we go. So we didn't see a huge amount of drama in that last lap in the end, right? Like, we were focused on Johan and Jamie just in those closing moments, but I didn't see a huge amount else kind of kick off all the guys ahead. But yeah, nicely done between Jamie and Johan, I think.
You just mentioned that Job was dead last, and that's because every other driver on the circuit, other than the leader, had some draft. They had the benefit of the draft, whereas
yes,
Seb Job, who was 15, I believe he was 15 seconds back when he actually got onto the circuit up to full speed. He's done pretty well to catch that back up, actually. But yeah, everyone else getting big advantage with the draft, and he just couldn't catch up to the field. If he did catch up to the field, it might have been quite a different story, because he would have been able to get some moves done. But just catching up to the back of the pack was proving a little bit too difficult for him.
Indeed, it was. So yeah, nice clean race from the guys that we saw. Unfortunate for Zach getting that damage early on. Start of lap 2, I think it was, right? But the rest of the guys, good clean result. Johan Half, say, looking like he should be in a really strong position now to try and score some decent points to help his fight for that qualifying spot for next season's pesc, whenever that may be, of course. I mean, who knows what iRacing are going to do with the format for next season, but yeah, that is where you need to be. Right, so the guys are just in a 5-minute warm-up now for the feature race, so we shall just head to a short little advert break, and then we'll be back to run through the feature and yeah, see the very final race of the 2021 season of Porsche eSports Supercup. So we shall see you again in just a couple of minutes.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Real Falla.
And Real Falla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross world champion Mitchell de Jong
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started. Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRating roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
And welcome back to the Apex Racing team and RLL eSport coverage of the Porsche Tag Heur eSports Supercup. We just saw the sprint race, solid result from 4 of our 5 guys, really, I would say. Let's have just a quick skim through confirming the results from that sprint race. So Dane Warren, Charlie Collins, Mitchell de Jong were our top 3. Josh Rogers and Mac Backham then rounding out an all VRS Coanda based, even if that's not necessarily all their team names, top 5. Kevin Ellis Jr. then did hold on to that 6th place, so that's going to be a good solid starting position for him on the reverse grid. Thomas Tatala then just behind. Johan Half, as Dane had so expertly predicted in advance, certainly something I hadn't really thought about properly, taking that 8th position to get reverse pole for the sprint race. Jamie Fluke in 9th, and then we drop back to Jeff Giassi, who finished 19th after all that, so he'd never quite managed to get back on Graham Carroll, just finishing a 10th down. And then, as we said, Zach Campbell, unfortunately, having that incident early on, he actually finished last of the classified finishers in 31st position. So, yeah, really, like you said, Dane, the focus is a little bit on Johan on this one, I would say, to see what he can do to get himself into the top 20. I mean, it's going to be tricky for us to be sure as to how he's looking for the points, but I have a super secret spreadsheet that suggests that after the sprint race, they believe that Johan Half is now up to 22nd position from 24th. So he's still got good 20 points that he needs to make up over 20th position as Johan to try and scrape into that top 20 spot. So it's going to be a tall order, but from pole in the future, it's as good a chance as he's ever going to get.
Yep, absolutely. With teammate right behind him at the start, on the left side, on the left row. So yeah, those two of Hearth and Kevin Ellis are going to be working together, trying to get past Tartar, I guess. Kevin will be at the start of the race, and then trying to fend off the Coanda squad that are lining up right behind them at the start of this one.
And so gridding has started, so the guys will gradually teleport onto the grid, and then we'll have a beginning of our feature race. 14 laps on this one. Here we can see Johan's view from that pole position with the start lights directly in front. So yeah, it will be Tartella alongside him in second, Kevin Ellis third, back and forth, and then down through the VRS Commander guys, Jamie Fluke 9th, Jeff Gassi 19th, and Zach Campbell back of the grid. So, you know, Johan on the outside for chicane here. I mean, it's maybe not the ideal place for him to be. Let's see where how he can get off the line as the lights count down. And we got that view in the rear mirrors now as well, so we can keep an eye on how the guys are moving behind. Decent launch for Johan. He's losing just a couple of hundredths to Tatella. So that's about it. Let's all hold our breath and see where we end up. Kevin Ellis actually up to second. And on board with Kevin as he goes around the outside of Tatella. Big hit from the inside for Kevin. I don't think actually that was Tatella. I think there was 3 wide going in chicane. So Kevin Ellis Jr., that is absolutely not what he needed to try and secure that 4th position in the championship. I dare say that's him in a lot of trouble now for that 4th position. We'll have to see as it shakes out. But Johan Hearth still in first, just a 10th and a half ahead of Tatella. Jamie Fluke 8th. Yassi 19th. He hasn't made any progress. And we're on board at the minute with Jamie in that 9th spot. Oof.
That's it's not good news for Johan either, because he's not got his teammate right next to him anymore. So he's just got a whole host of Coanda cars between himself and Jamie, who is now an 8th. So that's it's not ideal for him. Those Coanda cars are going to work together, of course, and make their way up through the field. They've got to try and help their own Mitchell de Jong try to move up as well, because I think he's in a battle with Job for second. So that might be yeah, he is. He's in a battle with Job for second, although after the first race Sebi might not be quite as much of a threat as they might have thought heading into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. I think yeah, Kevin's going to be looking at 6th place at best. I think now in the championship with the strong results that Collins and Warren have already secured in the sprint race. So yeah, damage limitation really now for Kevin. We'll see where he ends up. And of course, we don't know actually from that onboard who it was who hit him. And presumably they're going to get they could well get a points penalty as well for an impact if they don't have like their little free kind of incident available for the season. So yeah, who knows? At the end of the race, we'll run through our provisional sort of points based on the information we have, but we won't know for sure until the road test and everything reviews. Jeff Yassi tries to go around the outside, sets us in that core liveried machine. Good through the corner, but doesn't quite get the drive off. I think they're still absolutely side by side as they're working their way through. And yeah, Jeff Yassi just trying to hold on to this inside now into chicane. Let's see how late they're all going to be on the brakes. Can he get it stopped before he reaches Cronke just in front of him? He can. Looked like he was in a little bit hot initially, but he holds on to that position over Setzer still. Sebastian Job just falling down, I think, as well. Then Dane, he was obviously still recovering from his pit lane start of race 1, but yeah, he just had a bit of an incident. He's fallen to the back of the pack now. So yeah, Sebastian Job, was challenging for the very top positions in the championship, and yeah, he's had an extremely rough final round as ex championship winner Sebastian Job. Jamie Fluke up to 7th now as well. They're not sure who he got ahead of to move up one more from 8th. Maybe it was Alejandro.
I think it was Tartar's got a throughput.
Oh, good spot. Yep, so disconnection for Tatella. So there we go. So yeah, a little freebie for everyone behind, which explains Jamie up to 7th. Johan Half still leading the train, you know. So like you were saying about the draft with Sebastian Job earlier on, he's going to be under pressure this whole time from all these VRS guys. Like you say, he's got no running mate in this. Johan has got a tough balance to strike, right? Johan absolutely needs, as Matt Backham's alongside him on the chicane. I hadn't realised, sorry. Matt Backham on the inside. Johan gets a great run off the corner, so he should be safe for now. Johan's got a tricky balance, right? Because he needs to score maximum points to try and get into the top 20 as best he can. But equally, like if after the race it turns out 4th would have been good enough for something, but it's going to be no good him having thrown it off the road or got involved in something, desperately trying to hold on to 1st or 2nd. So that's really tricky for Johan. He's going to get gunged up on all race long, and he just needs to score maximum points with a minimum risk, which I guess is kind of always the ultimate goal regardless. But it's an interesting one for him, and like I say, he's all on his own with Jamie Fluke just at the back of that little train in that 7th spot. Zach trying to move up a little bit up to 21st, so he's kind of recovering a little bit from his incident earlier on in the sprint.
Yeah, Kevin is only a couple of positions behind Zach now, down in 21st and 23rd. But I'm interested to see what Johan does there. Like you were saying, it is a bit of a tricky situation he's got there, as there are some yellow flags in front of Jamie. So someone's gone off at some point, or someone was slow. Maybe a slowdown penalty out of Ascari. But it doesn't look like anything that we can see from on board of Zach, as he's getting very close to Lockwood into the Parabolica, and this is a huge train of cars that he is in right now. You can see all the way up through the pit straight here.
Yeah, I mean, looking on our timing screens, it's just orange all the way through, apart from like a little 1 second gap just behind Jamie Fluke. So yeah, just one continuous train. Here comes Zach Campbell looking to make that move on the inside of Lockwood. Just about gets the overlap on the braking. How hard is Lockwood going to push it? Holds that line on the outside. Zach trying to get the run off the corner. Decent drive for Zach. He should be in a position to really challenge into the section lane as well.
He has the inside line, so he will gain a little bit of time there. And he also has the benefit of a little bit of draft from Cedric ahead. And it looks like he's not going to be challenged into the chicane, so he's moved up into the top 20, which is good.
Yep, Lockwood back completely out of that, like you say. Whilst we were watching, Matt Backham, I think presumably down the front straight on that one, did take over the lead. So Johan Half now has got a little bit of draft at least to work with. So we'll see how he's able to manage that for the rest of the race. You know, he's still got 11 laps to go, so it's a long way to go still around this GP length Monza circuit. So we'll see how he, like I say, just manages the situation. I mean, it's going to be tough for Jamie if Jamie can mix it up in amongst the 4th, 5th position of VRS, and that's certainly going to help Johan just break things up a little bit. But it's a big ask for Jamie because they're all just in this draft train. It's going to be tough really to get any overlap in this sort of situation.
Sherp has disconnected from the session, so I'm not sure what has happened to him. Something must have happened, or maybe he's just fed up. But he's out. So yeah, if Kevin can gain a couple of positions, he might be able to score enough points. It would be a bit difficult, I think, for him.
Ooh, but Johan Half challenging for the lead again. Sorry, Dane, cut you off. So Mia, Mac and Johan side by side. There's the Lego car appearing on the right-hand side. And yeah, certainly Johan's still giving it his all to try and stay mixing right at the front. He's got Young alongside him now, unfortunately. And now he's completely boxed in as Backham covers the inside. And maybe did Backham have a little lift to allow the Young pass? Johan had nowhere to go. 2 spots lost in the space of a corner. Johan tries to come back at Rogers. And yeah, gets that inside. We'll see if he can hang on to it through Lesmo too. Well, that was a tough spot for Johan, like I say, just a clever driving from Backham and De Jong just to box him in and then allow De Jong that run on the outside. And yeah, that's relegated Johan to 3rd, and he's under pressure still from Rogers. He's on the right-hand side right as we speak as they head up towards to the final chicane, and there goes Rogers.
And they also boxed him onto the left side of the circuit, which is off the ideal racing line. So he was pretty slow through the chicane as well, which allowed Josh to send it up his inside into the second part of the chicane. So yeah, that was a good teamwork from the 3 guys ahead. But now there's only 4 tenths separating Johan and Jamie in 4th and 7th. They've got Warren and Collins between them. But I think Johan's going to try and stick with these in front. There's a bit of a gap between Rogers and Backham, but I think with the draft that will close up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Johan defending hard from Warren behind. Little dart around on the line before the braking zone. Is Warren got an overlap on the left? Let's find out. Yes, Johan can't turn into the apex. There appears Warren. Pushes him out onto the outside, and poor Johan just can't get the drive. He's got he's got Collins, right behind him as well. Perfect view now from Jamie to see how Johan is going to cope. He's going to get boxed in again, like exactly the same problem he's going to have. No, Collins has to stick behind for now. So yeah, good effort from Johan. He's just gradually getting shuffled down into that 5th positions now. Anyone else that he's battling with in a championship, he's really at the sharp end. So Salva Talens, he's one of the cars outside of the top 20 that he's battling with. He's having a pretty good run in 9th at the minute. David Williams is way down the back of the field, so he's safe. Sarika is 10th. So there's 2 cars in the feature who are having strong points runs at the minute, 9th and 10th. So yeah, Johan needs to maximise these points, and if he can get, say, 5th or 3rd sort of position, who knows? We'll have to see if that's going to be enough to scrape him into that top 20. And good run off the corner from Johan. He's going to put Warren under a little bit of pressure, I think, as they come to Parabolica, but he moves out the draft quite early. Yeah, not quite enough this time by, but I dare say he's looking for a run, of course, down the front straight anyway. That's the main drafting opportunity that you want to try and get the run.
Might just be seeing the drivers start to calm down slightly, I dare say, with 8 laps to go. There's still a very long way to go, and very loose actually. There was Warren. Johan might be able to do something about that, but no, he's I think he might have just hit the inside curve there a bit too hard, and he's lost quite a bit of speed. Oh, Jeff is involved in a bit of a scrap here.
Yeah, he's in the thick of it. Absolutely, as you can see, Setsus and Osgard side by side. Jeff having a little think about making it 3 wide, but I think actually the rear stepped out on him slightly on the outside line. Is Jeff going to send it up inside? He is up on Osgard. Is he going to get the overlap on Setsus as well? No. Can Osgard hold in? He can't. He got back. So 3 wide into chicane there for Gyasi. He works out for the minute, gets that 1 spot, but just lost a couple of attempts now to Setsus to try and gain that back. So yeah, nice job from Gyasi, and Zach Campbell's just lurking in the mirrors behind Osgard there as well. So hopefully Zach can continue moving forward in just a moment as well.
Yep, good racing from these, and of course Zach right on the back of these as well, and he's now got Osgard ahead after he's been overtaken by Jeff. Again, clobbering over those curves. They're almost going like almost a car's width off the circuit there, getting over those curves. It's really impressive to see. They apparently there's a really nasty slowdown there that is very easy to get if you go a little bit too far to the left over those curves. But I think if you go any further to the left over those curves, you get some engine damage because slam against the floor of the car, which is definitely not what you want to see. Rogers into the lead of the race as well, just in front of Johan and Jamie.
Yeah, I think the VRS guys at the front is working in like a little bit of a sort of cycling peloton method at the minute, just kind of allowing that overlap into the lead each time. And yeah, Campbell, you're right, Dane, to have a little oof moment as has a big oversteer on the exit chicane. Johan Half just up a spot in this section as well. He's just jumped up to fourth from fifth. He's got that car on the left. You can see he can turn into the apex, so he's got Warren there. Manages to clear him on the exit, but you can see how much time they've lost as they're squabbling. Second down though on the timing screen, so Johan needs to try not to really lose any more time. He's got to keep a draft of those guys in front, otherwise he's absolutely going to get swallowed up at the next possible opportunity. But yeah, he's still a second back, so hopefully he can get a bit of draft down as they come towards Ascari on this lap. But yeah, good effort from Johan, moving up that spot again.
Yep, definitely. He's got a bit of a gap. It's around about a second between himself and Backham ahead. He should be able to catch up a bit of that in the draft, but Backham has double draft from the two teammates in front of him, and he does obviously have Warren, who's got to worry about, but Warren's under a bit of pressure from Collins.
Yeah, so nice view now from Jamie just behind. See how that shapes up. We stay on board with Jamie. Let's see how Johan does in front. I think Johan overcooked it a little bit into a parabolic. It looked like he was a little bit out of shape. How much of an issue is that going to be on the run down into turn one? We can't see Johan because the VRS guys ahead are tailing him closely. Johan's going to defend a little bit. He's sitting in the middle of the track. Now he moves to the right a touch more. VRS goes left. Is Warren going to hang it around the outside on Johan? He tries. Don't think he's quite got enough of a run on it, and he doesn't. Johan gets a good drive off the corner and clears. Warren sticks into that fourth position. Jamie just keeping half an eye on Jeremy Bootsaloot behind. He's actually battling with Salva Talons at the minute. Actually, they're side by side, and contact I think between Talons and Bootsaloot there. It looked like in the rear view mirror. I saw Talons have a big old wiggle and Bootsaloot kind of disappear off screen, but yeah, he seemed to keep going. Not too much of a drama somehow. But yeah, Johan 4th, Jamie 7th, Jeff Gassi 16th, Zach Campbell 18th, and I think a very dejected, I suspect, Kevin Ellis Jr. down in 24th. I dare say he's struggling with big damage. He's not been able to make any progress at all really since he got unceremoniously dumped out of the front of the race early on. 6 laps to go.
Yeah, and soon to be 5 laps to go. They've only got a couple of corners left on the lap. Only, I think it's 5 braking zones that they have to worry about in these cars. So it's a fairly quick circuit in terms of how it feels in the car. Of course, a lot of people are going to be doing the Nürburgring 24 hours over the weekend, and that's a much longer lap. In fact, one of our fellow Apex Racing TV staff members, Mark Tranter, he was doing a practice lap with me, and he forgot he was on the out lap. The lap was so long. By the end of it, he thought it was a timed lap, and he came across the line. What lap was that? Oh, it was an out lap, and he never got to finish his actual flying lap because the session switched over.
Oh dear.
I'll caught up to Backham now. Quite a fair bit.
Yeah, and Martin Cronke just having an issue somewhere on that one. He's just plummeted down the timing screen. So, yeah, contact, I dare say, in the first chicane that time by. Yeah, Johan Half did a good job surviving in that 4th position on that last lap. I thought he was going to end up under a lot more pressure on the front straight, but you can see he's gained half a second to the cars in front since he dropped that 1 second back, exactly a lap to go. And so, yeah, looking like he's just got a tiny bit of respite for the minute as he just tries to close back up to the top 3. I think Johan's gonna struggle a little bit still for maybe scraping into his top 20, because I was just trying to look at the points again, think about where they were, and his problem really is that Zurika ahead is having a pretty good run still in 11th. Salva Talons having a pretty good run in 8th. I'll have to just wait and see whether his points haul from this feature race and the sprint race, of course, are going to be quite enough to lift them over, but I think it's going to be very, very tight, so we'll have to just hold our breath and see. As we switch back now to Kevin Ellis Jr. I mean, he's just sort of tucking in behind Williams, not really any urgency, understandably, not really any reason to have a big lunge into Ascari or anything, as he had a lift off. Front of the car looks alright on my screen. They're not seeing any damage or anything. Steering looks fairly straight, but yeah, just not really able to do anything at the minute, it seems.
Yeah, there might be some damage to the rear, maybe.
Yep.
From the contact behind him, but yeah, it's really unfortunate for him. He was in a good position. Monza's not his favourite circuit, it seems. He didn't have the best of rounds here last season either in the final round, which is why he ended up finishing in 5th instead of the 4th that he could have come away with. And it looks like it's a similar thing happening here. He might not be so lucky to finish 5th though. He might be a couple more.
Yeah, I think so.
Down than that.
Yeah, it's going to be 6th at best, I think, unfortunately for Kevin this time by. Jamie Fluke just lost a spot to Salva Talons on the start of this lap somewhere, and Alejandro, falling down the order now as well. Alejandro Sanchez is having an issue, and he's falling all the way down to the back. Everyone else shuffles forward one more spot. Back with Zach Campbell, who's ahead of him at the minute. Jack Sedgwick, Brian Lockwood just ahead. Not looking like he's able to make any challenge anytime soon, but he's got a huge gap then back to Martin Cronkey, like 4 seconds back. So I think perhaps not a huge amount more that Zach is going to be able to do at the minute, but there is quite a train in front ahead of Lockwood and Sedgwick. Then we can see that next train coming off the exit of Scari at the minute. So I mean, who knows, closing laps now. There's a little bit of an instant ahead. He may well suddenly find himself kind of towards a sharp end a little bit more, but we'll have to see. It seems like he's just sort of biding his time at a minute, and so maybe not in a position to challenge any time soon, as the BRS car takes a very wide line ahead into Parabolica.
A massive cluster of cars in front of him. Lots of side-by-side looks like, and Jeff Guessie's all inside that. They're going 5 wide.
Oh,
he's
Jeff
on the grass.
He is on the grass.
Oh.
Keeps on it as well. Eventually has to back out of it.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Here we go. So one car already skittled off. 2 more cars made contact. Somehow, I don't know how the 4 car and is it La Fuente on the left didn't end up in a pile at the end as well, but somehow they kept on going. That might be one to try and catch on the replay after the race, and I think that's a slowdown maybe for Sirica there. And are we going to get Sextus as well? We are. Lunges up inside for Gassi. Loves this spot, it seems, for that late braking. Takes the apex, gets that spot covered. Jeff Gassi all of a sudden up to 11th spot, 8 places gained from his starting position. So yeah, that looked frantic on that front straight, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, Moreno in 14th now. He was the one that went straight on, locked up on the brakes, and he went straight on and took to the escape pro, so he got a fairly hefty slowdown. I think it might be 3 or 4 seconds out slowdown penalty. It's a very nasty one. But Jeff, he was having a ball in that massive scrap going on there. They went 3 wide in front of him at one stage through the first chicane, which I struggled to keep it 2 wide. I don't know how they managed to come out of that in one piece when they go 3 wide through turns 1 and 2, but he managed to come away with it. He's almost in the top 10. He's only 1 place off now.
Yeah, like I say, great progress from Jeff on that one. Doesn't look like Zach quite managed to capitalise from all those incidents as well. He was just a little bit too far back down in 17th still, but the battle, as right as the fixture, the battle is come back towards him, should we say, and it looks like that's going to get a bit frantic as they come down the front straight as well this time by. Let's see where Zach decides to put himself. He has got Sedgwick just behind as well, to half an hour. I think Zach might just get boxed in a little bit here if anyone comes back over to the left, and they do. See if they can all get through that first chicane side by side. Zach's still got a car on his right. We see him not taking that wide line to the exit curb, and so who's going to get the draft between him and Osgard is on the right. And there goes Osgard. Johan just back down to 5th. I think that maybe just happened on that lap, and Jamie just up to 7th. There's a little bit of movement going on. Graham Carroll falling down the field, so he's had an incident. And I guess we're going to see Graham here just ahead. Yeah, we see the Red Bull car, just 2 cars ahead now. So yeah, instant for him. That just allowed everyone else to shuffle up the spot. That's Jeff Gessie into that 10th position that you said a minute ago, Dane. So yeah, 5th, 7th, 10th, 17th, 24th not too bad from the guys. Jeff Gassi 9th now, Dane, just alongside Jeremy Bootley in that straight path.
Hey, as you can just see in the background, or far up in front of Zach Campbell there. He just about managed to go around the outside and get it done before the braking zone, and he's now leading this train, which with 2 laps to go, soon to be 1 lap to go, not particularly where you want to be, as that was very close between Backham and Half.
Absolutely, yeah, Johan Backham, absolutely right. Yeah, Johan, I think, was lucky not to get checked out away a little bit more, and the guys now we see on the final lap as the white flag comes out, this is where it's all going to kick off. Johan 5th, Jamie 7th, Yassi 9th, but a little way back, 5 seconds back is Jeff. So let's see where they go. Johan, we can see up ahead there on the right, Trono going to go around the outside. He's going to get boxed in again. Johan cuts back to the right. Is he going to get up inside? He's not. Oh, he turns him. Johan gets into the back of Backham. Jamie Flute has to take to the escape route. He's got to slow down now to serve. Unfortunately, he's going to drop back a couple of spots. Jeff Giassi is in 8th. So yeah, something more happened behind. Cars couldn't get going from there. So Johan currently 3rd. We'll have to wait and see what kind of Johan's situation is going to be with protest. I think he's gonna get a little penalty point for that, I guess, at the end of the race. We'll have to see what the stewards say and where his kind of situation is with. Again, they seem to have like 3 incidents during the whole season, so we'll have to see what Johan's situation is. But it didn't unfortunately work out for Jamie on that one, relegating him down to 7th. But we saw what Johan was trying to do, right? He knew coming into the first chicane that he was going to get boxed in again, just like it happened a couple of times before. So he kind of drifted left to make it look like he was going up the outside, and then tried to cut back at the last minute to the right. And yeah, like I say, Matt Backham's still struggling, maybe with damage, I guess.
Slow down?
Yeah,
I don't know where they would get a slowdown. Maybe that's a slowdown from the chicane.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
long way back.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot left to do. Anyway, guys are about to finish, right? So last lap, leaders are going to be coming over the line momentarily, and here's Johan up in 3rd. Looks like Rogers and De Jong look like they're going to stay line astern, I think, as they come over the line. De Jong not quite got the run. So great result from Johan. We'll see if he actually kind of keeps that, how that turns out with points. I'm sure it was not intentional for him by any means to turn back, but it was just doing everything he could to try and gain that spot. Jamie comes over the line in 6th. Jeff Yassi 8th, 11 spots gained from his starting position. Here comes Kevin Ellis Jr. Sorry, he's going to be finishing 20th, and Zach Campbell ahead, finished in 13th. So it did kick off as expected on that last lap, Dane, but it was at the start of the last lap. It was coming into turn 1 rather than perhaps a last-ditch effort coming out of Ascari or something. So good racing as always. We'll have to just see how stewards feel about a couple of little incidents. And we're going to just kind of wait and see whether Johan did enough to get the points he needs in the championship for 20th. We'll have to see how far Kevin Ellis Jr. got relegated in the championship. So he's going to be 6th or worse, I think, unfortunately. Not a great night at all for Kevin and everyone else. I think, should be pretty happy overall. They've all secured their top 20 spots. It's just whether Johan gets it and where Kevin finishes at the front of the field.
And for Johan especially, out of the rest of the drivers, it will be quite difficult to get back into the series for the next season, because he has the Rallycross World Championship that I believe he's going to be defending his title. I'm not 100% sure. He did tell me that if he won the championship he would never go back, but he was doing that Pro Invitational that happened earlier on in the week, and I think he'll be continuing to do that. So I think he's going to be back for the 2021 Rallycross World Championship, and we don't know yet. I think it's getting announced later on tonight, but the qualifying format might not help him out. Last year with pesc, when it was running at the same time as the Rallycross World Championship, Johan was struggling a bit with that. But then once pesc ended, he of course went on his streak with John Robertson, and they wiped out the rest of the competition in the Rallycross World Championship once pesc was over. But yeah, it might be a bit more difficult for him, especially because of the Rallycross World Championship, to get back into the series through the qualifiers. So getting top 20 is quite important for him.
Yeah, for sure it'll be a conundrum for Johan, won't it? As he gets to the end of the year, we'll have to see what iRacing do with the formats. Sounds like he enjoyed himself in the All-Star event for Rallycross early in the week. So hopefully he's able to get stuck in again and do it properly next time out. Right, let's have a quick skim through the final results for that one. Again, kind of provisional results based on what penalty points things we're gonna get, as we see the guys all limping around with running out of fuel, trying to get pushed back to the pit lane. Josh Rogers just really confirmed just how strong he's been all season, hasn't he, by taking a win in the final round as well over Mitchell Young. Johan Half did finish at third. Unfortunately that he turned back in there on the final lap, but Johan was absolutely in the mix the whole time through all of that. By the way, Salva Talons really capitalized through those incidents on the end, so he actually finished in fourth and he was 7th or 8th in the last lap coming in. That could be an issue for Johan, because Talons was right with Johan in points at the start of the round, and so actually he's only scored, he's only finished one spot back, so that could be tricky. We'll have to wait and see. Charlie Collins 5th, Jamie Fluke, good result in 6th. Could have been a little bit more, as unfortunately he had to serve that slowdown after taking avoiding action after the Johan incident. Backham 7th, Yassi 8th, and then we'll skip. Zach Campbell, did finish in that 13th, and then Kevin Ellis Jr. taking that 20th spot. So we had 3 top 10s in both the sprint and the feature, I think. So pretty good return from the guys, and I know they weren't really looking forward to Monza. I think it's a bit of a lottery. It's a bit of a strange track with how stop and go it is as well. So I think Kevin is going to be pretty distraught with how that final round went, and I think everyone else should be pretty happy really overall. Right, so we shall go to little adverts for a couple of minutes. We shall then be back hopefully with a couple of driver interviews. I dare say we are perhaps not going to hear so much from Mr. Kevin Ellis Jr., but we'll see. But hopefully all the other guys will be in. Johan Half will have duties to do interviews with iRacing first, and then we'll try and catch him after that. And if our friends at Sim Racing Wiki are as on it as they have been through the rest of the season, then we may even have provisional results provisional championship results to look at as well. So we shall see. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion RLL Fowler,
And RLL Fowler is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke,
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong,
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing team and RLL eSports post-race coverage of the final round of the Porsche Tag Heur eSports Supercup. We're just having a little look at the replay from that final, well, this isn't the final lap here, is it? It's the penultimate lap as they're coming over the start-finish line to start their final lap. And yeah, here's Johan Half coming past, Jamie Fluke just behind him on shot. We're just going to have a quick look out of curiosity to see what kind of view we get as they head into turn 1. I was saying that, yeah, Johan, I think, got halfway down, moved to the left-hand side of the track for him, right as we look at it now. And I feel like he just got worried he was going to get boxed in and kind of so switched back to the other side. So let's have a little look. He's tucked up in the draft of Backham, starts moving to the left. You know, he's got the other VRS cars ahead of him and he's going to get boxed in, and now he switches back, comes back, just gives Mac a little tap any moment now. There we go, and Backham just gets turned. So we've oh, and actually I didn't realize that. So Backham then collected the next car in front as well, right? So that must have been Collins, maybe, I think. So yeah, unfortunate for both of them. You were saying, Dane, with your little contacts that you have dotted around in Discord, that from some other angles, guys think there might have been a bit of netcode for Johan, so hopefully he'll be safe from kind of protests and stuff on that one, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it was a tricky one. We saw him kind of cutting back to the right and not quite managing to get the move stick.
Yeah, I think it was Dane Warren that was turned around there by Backham. It was a bit of an awkward one. Backham trying to go around the corner, and he was already a little bit stretched trying to keep on the inside of Warren, and then Johan making things just a little bit more interesting there. And unfortunately Warren wasn't expecting that, didn't leave quite enough space for all 3 of them, and that's what caused him to be turned around. Unfortunately, he lost a lot of positions from that one, did Dane, but Johan then ended up in 3rd at the end, so it worked out quite nicely for him. Hopefully he doesn't get any sort of penalty for that, and at that point he would be safe provisionally before any protests. He looks like he's finished 19th, which is great.
Yeah, excellent. Cracking job from Johan. Also cracking job from our other 2-star drivers of the day, Jeff Gassi finishing in that 8th position, 11 spots gained from his starting grid, and Zach Campbell finishing in 13th. So yeah, Jeff and Zach both in the interview room. Congrats, guys. Who wants to go first? Zach, what was your sort of thoughts of the race? I mean, did it kind of go to plan a bit kind of chaotic, a bit draft trainy as normal, I guess?
My plans went out the window as soon as I got hit in the first race. Because we were out lap 1, turn 1, so that wasn't great. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just went into that last race. We had a very outside shot after that happened, beating Tommy in points. So I just went in to have fun, really, and had a lot of fun. I think we went from 31st to 12th there, which is really good. It was really fun, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, no, it didn't go to plan, but I mean, I had fun, which is really all that matters, I think, so.
And it looked like, Jeff, you had a hell of a lot of fun out there as well. We saw one move 3 wide going into the second chicane. We saw another move into the same chicane as well. I mean, looked like that was your favourite overtaking spot out there today.
Yeah, at the moment, I actually thought it was 4 wide.
Oh, well, maybe.
I saw people doing the 3 wide, and I thought, hey, what's better than people doing 3 wide coming to chicane? And I said it's people doing a 4 wide. So, and what's even better, it's doing a 4 wide with 2 wheels in the grass. So why not? And I just completely sent it. I knew I had a chance to get some places in the championship. Mateus and Gabriel were helping me a lot, spotting me through the race, and they said, hey man, you have a shot. And try to pass Sindre, because if you pass Sindre, Johan can still qualify for next season. So I had that goal to make moves, and turned out it worked really well. Somehow, like, I was driving P15, and by the end I finished P7. So it was really good. The test races we had were really helpful. The team worked really hard for this one, and yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
No, good. You say it looked frantic, and like I say, you managed to make all those moves stick. According to the official provisional iRacing points, they put you in 16th currently in the championship. So, like I say, cracking job of making sure you secured that top 20 position. I mean, guys, how have you felt with this seat now that it's kind of done and dusted? How have you felt with this season? I mean, the car has been, pretty tricky this year, right? With kind of all the nonsense with qualifying and just kind of the car behavior and stuff as well. I mean, kind of a bit bittersweet. Like, you've both had good results in the championship now, but kind of glad to see the back of it, maybe.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just been stressful, mainly. We kind of started off on a good note, but yeah, I mean, kind of had some inconsistency early in the season, and just a lot of struggling in queue. I'm very glad the season's over, honestly. I had a lot of fun, but I started to develop some bad habits towards the end of it. And so that was really the big thing, is that I think just a decent break from, just competition and just a little bit of relaxation, and I can get back on it, just because I started to feel really uncomfortable kind of towards the end of the championship. So I'm glad it's over. I want to go lie on a beach somewhere, but yeah, we got other things in the works here, so I don't quite get that opportunity.
And what about yourself, Jeff? Like, how have you felt now that the season's done? Sort of, I mean, are you kind of raring to go for the next championship, or feeling a bit kind of that mental kind of drain that Zach's kind of talking about there as well?
Of course, I believe we are all really tired. The car this season it's so hard to drive, so that was a big challenge to all of us. Not only to be able to drive a car that's so difficult, but to drive in a top 20 pace in the World Championship, and we all of us managed to do it. So it was really hard, lots of work. So looking forward to take a break, but it's not gonna be such a long break, because in 2 weeks from now I have actually 1 week from now I have Brazilian League race in this car once again. So I'll take like a 3-4 days break, and then I'll be back 100% and keep pushing to fight for the title in the Brazilian league called IRB.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friends at IRB, we say hello to. We have a little relationship with them using our SDK gaming software. So thank you to IRB over there and the guys. Yeah, no, great job, guys. Like I say, glad to see you guys both battling out at the front all season long, and say just great that we look like we've managed to secure all the team for coming back next season. So whenever that may be, who knows what format iRacing are gonna throw at us next. So we'll let you go. Cheers for your time, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for doing these broadcasts. They've been fun. Good to get a little interview afterwards, and yeah, thank you all for putting in the hard work all season, and hopefully we can do even better next.
Yeah, thank you all, and we'll be back for the next season. Really happy.
Awesome.
See you guys. Bye, ciao, ciao.
Cheers, Jeff. Bye. Awesome. Right. So next up then is Mr. Jamie Fluke, and we drag him into the channel as we speak. Evening, Jamie. Looked like a. I'm gonna guess it's a bit of a stressful race. I mean, it's kind of a normal theme, right? Of trying to manage the Coanda kind of swarm around you, and also Dane absolutely picked up in the sprint race before I did. That, of course, you had that issue of how you're gonna try and help Johan out a little bit to try and make sure he secured his 20th spot and getting him that reverse grid pole. So, I mean, yeah, how are you feeling now that the race is done?
Knackered. That was so stressful because I had John in as a spotter, just giving updates as to what the guys needed. I'm like, man, there's only so much I can do to help. Johan made his intentions clear going up the inside of the final corner of the sprint, and I was like, well, I'm obviously not gonna try and shut the door or anything like that, and got me to the line. So he was up front there, sort of almost by himself, and especially after Kev got taken out at the start, it was basically one soldier against an army sort of a thing. And I was at the back of the train, and those guys were placing the cars so well that I couldn't just breeze by and get my way up there and fend them off or anything like that. It was stressful because obviously I really wanted to see him get the license and hold on, but there's only so much I could do from I could see what was going up front, and I couldn't quite get up there to mount a charge or really help him out, or take points off of all the guys around like that. It was just, he almost had to sort of do it by himself, and I was there to catch him if he fell, sort of a thing. If he fell back to me, I would push him along again if it came to it. But I think everything's worked out okay, especially as well for we've worked with the MSI guys, as you know, this year, and I think Salva's made it in as well. So I think all around it's been a good day. But stressful.
Well, stressful seems to be the theme. That seems like kind of both Zach and Jeff are maybe kind of glad that now that the season's done. I mean, it's obviously such a compacted season compared to what you guys have run previously. Like, it was spread over 6 months or even a little bit more last season.
Yeah.
And to compact it down so much, but to have the same energy that's required, the same number of races, and obviously the standard just goes, well, the standard in some ways goes up and up every year. I mean, like I say, it must have been a hell of a task for you guys to just get that in such a compacted season.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with, obviously we know that how strong the Coanda guys are, and there's just so many of them that you have to deal with on a weekly basis that it's like swatting flies, just constant. It's like you can't keep them away from you. It's unbelievable. But that's the season done. I'm glad to see the back of it because it's been a huge struggle for me personally. I mean, I've probably, for 8 maybe out of the 10 rounds this season, have been the slowest out of the guys that are working together between the 7 of us. So to get 13th in points, I think it's 13th. Mac, I think, had his issue at the end, which meant I got ahead of him, and Tatala had his disconnect earlier in the race. I'm trying to keep up with everything that's happened. It's just it's mental. But I think it's 13th in points, which, given where I was a week before the start of the season, I would have ripped someone's arm off for it, I suppose.
Absolutely, should be well satisfied with that 13th position. Let's say it's a tough one. So now that the season's done, a little bit of time to kind of relax to some extent. You've got the pressure of pesc off, opportunity to recover, get yourself in a better place. And I mean, what are your thoughts as to kind of the next World Championship kind of event. I mean, we don't really know. Is there going to be an IRO1? Are we going to be waiting for some form of pesc next year? I guess we're probably not going to have long to wait until the next season's going to be announced.
Yeah, I think they're announcing it now, possibly on their stream. So that's kind of the vibe that I got from other. So we'll hear very, very soon. If not, it's circulating now. But in terms of taking a break, next week we've got BMW Sim GT Cup. So no rest for the weary, I guess. I'll take this evening off and grab a large pizza and a beer and unwind finally for the first time in 4 months. And then back on the horse for what's next, which will be that. And then after that, if we don't have an immediate thing to look for in terms of IR1, or if they throw in a second pesc season really quick at us, then yeah, it'll be special events from there, and I can kind of more methodically plot my way around the rest of the year.
Awesome. Well deserved little night of pizza and beer ahead then. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you back competing at the front very soon, Jamie. Thank you very much, sir.
Many thanks. Take it easy.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, cool. So I think that is probably going to be our interviews for the evening. So as I said, Johan Half did have iRacing interview duty to do as well. I dare say that's probably done now, and there's not any sign of him in our Discord. So I think we are probably going to look to wrap things up there. What a season it's been for Porsche eSports Supercup. Josh Rogers dominant, VRS dominant, but our guys absolutely getting there in the mix. Kevin Ellis Jr. So we'll see exactly where he finished in the championship, but he was the standout guy really all season long, battling it with mixing it up with the VRS Commander team, and I reckon should have had that 6th position in the championship, but we'll see. And yeah, for the whole rest of the team to finish in the top 20, yeah, cracking result. Dane, thanks very much for joining us. It was good to have your insights with us, both with knowing the car and actually knowing the guys pretty well with your activeness on Apex Racing Academy. I mean, what do you think in terms of the guys? They sound to me, so certainly like they kind of were ready to finish this season. It sounded pretty stressful for them.
Yep, definitely. And of course, for someone like Zach, who had to come through the series, into the series through the qualifiers as a rookie, the qualifying series was very compact as well. I think it was 5 weeks straight, 5 rounds in that, and they had to do lots of official racing as well to get the points to get into the super session, to get the points towards the actual qualifying series. So it was a pretty stressful time for him as well. And then very, very quickly straight into this compacted full World Championship season. So for him especially, it would have felt like a very long season, and it didn't take too long to start the qualifiers after the last year's season finished. So there wasn't much of a gap between the seasons. So I know for some of the people I've been watching it with over the course of the season, it has felt like one long season since the start of last year's season. So for the drivers, it must have felt a little bit more than that. But yeah, they did sound like they were ready to have it finished. But I think they'll definitely be ready for whatever the next one may be, whether it's an IRO1 championship, which has been hinted at but nothing announced as far as I'm concerned. But I think they're just about to announce what the new format for, or what the format for pesc is going to be next year. So it'll be interesting to see what that's going to look like, and hopefully you guys will be up for it.
Yeah, I think they definitely will. So thank you everybody for joining us for this season. Thank you to Samuli Kumo looking after the broadcast tonight, and Alex Simpson being my kind of partner in crime for the rest of the season. If you're not already, make sure you check out our social media channels for Apex Racing TV. So facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, Twitter/Apex Racing TV, all the nice consistent naming throughout. And then the Apex Racing team ones, if you want to follow those, you might have to do just a little bit more digging. ART eSports, it varies a little bit. But yeah, follow the ART channels as well, and you will see what the confirmed points results are going to be pretty soon. So we'll see you all for whatever the next World Championship level events that we provide a feature broadcast for. We shall see you then, and thank you for joining us.